Hello everyone, how we doing? So today let's work on the defenses that we use in okinawa-te, Te-Kempo-Jujitsu, and let's apply those defenses to the Yari, which I'm going to introduce today. So you know we have a crescent defense. We've got a left, which is the letter L. That's why it's left angle, right angle, low angle, and then a bow and arrow. A lot of people like to bring that arm back, which is fine, with your direction pointing here, and then you twist your body coming in. I like to keep mine up here a little bit closer, but it's okay either way. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer our basic defenses, which can be used with the katana, the wakizashi, and the spear, and also the mace. So today we're going to work on first the basic strikes out of a crescent defense. And the basic strikes out of a crescent defense, where you come here, you bring your elbow down, put your right hand here, your left hand comes up front to where you can place it underneath, or you can put it on top, whichever you prefer with the thrust. And with the thrust, from in here, we're going to keep this pointed at eye level, and we're simply going to thrust at the man. We're going to use both hands as we thrust. The right hand is going to pull back as we thrust. Just as simple. From in here with our knees bent, thrust and come back. From in here, thrust and come back. From in here, thrust and come back. Snap it and come back. So from here, snap it and come back. From here, snap and come back. Snap and come back. It's a snapping motion. It's a thrusting motion that we're using out of the crescent defense with either our hand underneath or our hand on top. And you notice we're using that half circle, that crescent motion as we're doing it. A thrust and a thrust, a thrust and thrust. Okay, so now out of that motion, we're going to work on three today. We're going to do a sliding, snapping motion to where we bring it through. Our left hand is loose and our right hand is the motion that's pushing it through. And we never want to stay tight. The one thing you don't want to do when you're working with a bow or even a Yari is to keep your hands tight like so to where you can't move. You want to stay more in a relaxed position, more relaxed, and at the point of impact, you tighten up. You tighten up. You snap it and you bring it back. You snap and bring back. You snap and bring back. So from in here, you snap it and bring back. You snap it and bring back. So that's the second motion out of the crescent defense. And the third motion is what I call the going for broke motion. And the going for broke motion is to our inward crescent. And what we do is we launch this towards the man. We launch it straight in. So we're here, and we're launching this right at him. Launch straight and come back. Kind of like a reverse punch coming out, but we're holding it. So from in here, we're launching this, and we're bringing it back. I call that going for broke, because if you hit the guy, fantastic shot. If you miss, when he happens to jump to the side and counter you, well, you just lost. There's two ways we could do it. We could launch it from here and bring it back, or from in here, we could step forward and launch that and come in. Once again, we could step forward, launching that and bringing it back. So those are the three basic strikes from the Te system. And now, since I don't have much room in here, I figured we'd go through a couple of the defenses from the Te system. And I'm going to use this, I call it a home Yari, because this is something that, you know, this is probably about, I'm guessing 200 to 300 years old. It has a double fuller on both ends. It's a small blade, but it's extremely sharp. And this is something you would probably keep by like your bedside, to where if someone broke into your home, you would have your spear and you would practice your thrust, you know, you would do your thrusting motions to where you come here, you come over the top, right, parry, you come in with a thrust. So this was more of a home Yari, and there's many different types of Yari, many different types of styles, different type of shafts, all different types. This is actually a very small size. They go from 12, 14, 18 feet. Anyways, so from in here, let's just center on that crescent defense to where we're in here. You can keep your hand on top, a crescent. Then from there, we're going to go to a low angle defense. And then from there, we're going to go, flip it over, we're going to go into a bow and arrow defense. So from a bow and arrow, we could come down into a low angle and then back up to a crescent. From a crescent, we could go into a bow and arrow defense and come back over into a crescent. Then we could go into a low angle. Then from it here, we could go into a right angle defense. Now that right angle defense can also be here to where it's right up above our head. And then we come back down into a low angle, a bow and arrow, and a crescent defense. So these are a couple of basic defenses that we could use with the Yari, and from those points is our striking points that we could use. For instance, if I'm in a bow and arrow defense, or from a crescent defense into a bow and arrow defense, well then I could just step forward and cut, and bring it over and cut, and bring it over and cut. A lot of these techniques are reminiscent, similar to what you could do with the naginata, but I'm taking it out of the basic defenses of the Te systems so that people could actually know how to stand with the Yari and some basic strikes with the Yari. Anyways, guys, that was a quick introduction today of the Yari and the Te systems. And what's most important is to keep fixed eyes on your opponent, to keep your eyes fixed on him, keep your hands loose as you're striking and bringing it back. Work on your defenses. And you know what, while I'm here, I guess I can show this too to give you an example of how Shion always used to tell me that okinawa-te is a system within a system. And as we would do spear practice or work on the 12, we would do some other motions. And let me give you an introduction to that. So from in here, you probably already know this, where you have a block, and then a thrust and a thrust. So from in here, if I block, then I come up and I thrust and I thrust, right? So if we block, bring it up, thrust, thrust. If from in here I block, bring it up, thrust, thrust. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And those motions we used to practice over and over and over again of coming with an inside or an outside block using the spear. And then from that comes your footwork. And we had many different types of footwork where we had what we called a quick step, a jump step, a stutter step, a galloping step, a wind step, all different types of footwork that went in accordance with the spear. And some of the motions I just did were from here, punch, punch, and come back. So I'm sure you guys already know where that's coming from in here, and then we punch, and we come back. Some like to raise the hands up and come back. I've seen it done like with at least 15 to 20 different type of variations of what people have done. When I show it, it's just exactly what he showed me. And later on, I will add some variations to it, but I will always say, hey, this is a variable or variation that can be done. Anyways, guys, this is just a quick blip today on the Yari and the Te systems. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can always get back to me.